to be able to make choices which are going to affect everyone on the basis of guesswork, is not a good way forward. And you cannot deal with people, you cannot deal with humans, whether they are, UK residents or whether they are asylum seekers. You can't deal with them with that kind of language, second guessing how hungry a person might be. Or, yes, they're an asylum seeker and they're doing all right, they get £5 a day to live on. The whole infrastructure, like you kind of said, Mark, really needs dealing with. And I don't know how that's going to happen, really. And perhaps we could leave it with that hanging in the air.
Can I just say one thing? Working at Cornerstone, somebody's got to really help us, because we're getting young men coming in and they've got nowhere to live. They're presenting to the Cornerstone staff and they're going on the streets because their accommodation's ended. I don't want to say to these people, there's nothing I can do for you, because that's not in my nature.
Yeah.
But what I need accommodation. I need houses.
I know.
So I can support my people.
Do you know, every day I drive past a huge block of, I think there's about four-storey high flats, and they're all boarded up. Now, how many of those are there around, not around the UK, just in Manchester City? There's loads of them.
We will support the people in the properties.
Yeah.
We'll nurture them. We'll move them on. We'll get jobs.
And this is why I think, if the politicians really wanted to do something about this, they could invest in these properties or make whoever owns them do something with them, to put pressure on them and get these properties back available to people.
Cabins, we're using pubs, just with simple beds in.
Yeah.
Why should people have to be living like that? That's fine for a few nights, for an emergency. But the problem is now, they're building them into their little homes.
Yeah.
These guys here, they're living in pubs.
Yeah.
And it's just not good enough.
I mean, it was one of the things I said to Mark when I interviewed him a few weeks ago. For the first time ever, I've actually seen people living under the arches in Manchester in tents. That's no way to live. It's no proper way to live. Certainly not in the 21st century.
Certainly not.
In a first world city like Manchester. And I just think, I don't know who will listen to this, because we never know who's listening to these radio shows. But perhaps somebody who is listening in may have the inclination or the power to pull a few strings and to kind of get things moving. So if that's you, Mr. Listener or Mrs. Listener, please do something to help these people. So I'd like to thank you all for your time today. I know it's taken a couple of hours to kind of get to this stage, but hopefully when the radio show is put together, and I'm hoping to do that by tomorrow, that you'll all be happy with what's said, and fingers crossed that we're able to maybe influence a few people by the stories that you've given us. So thank you very much. Give yourself a big clap. Thank you. So at the end of this rather long radio show, I don't usually do shows that are anywhere near this long, but at this juncture, I'd like to thank once again Mark Wigan and the members of his team from Cornerstones and from Revive. I'd also like to thank very much the guest speakers, some of whom we used their correct names, some decided that they wanted us to change their names. So it's one of those things that, as a priest, I don't see the kind of human face of things like asylum seekers and the fear that people have on their faces when they're telling you their stories. And one of the things that has been a delight, particularly about today's episode, and it took quite a few hours to kind of get it all done this morning, and one of the lovely things that was said, that one of the asylum seekers said to Mark Wigan afterwards, that it was absolutely a delight for him to be able to share his stories, not just with other refugees who he has travelled with for months and months to get across Europe, but to non-refugees, people who are interested and people who care. And that statement alone is one that really we should all take to heart. So I hope you have enjoyed this particular show, and that in future, perhaps when you think about the immigrants and the asylum seekers and the refugees, perhaps you might just check yourself and really think it through, that these people have left dreadful situations. Some of them have left family that they have never seen again, or the lady that I spoke to who had never seen her brother or her siblings. This is tragedy. It really, really is such a tragic situation that we have going on in our world, that this kind of torment and war and fear that people have to live constantly under. So I leave you with that. God bless you all. Thank you for taking the time to listen in. If you have any things that you might like to say, if you have any comeback, if you have any comments to make about the show that you just listened to, please, you can get in touch with me. My email is revjimclark@yahoo.co.uk, and it's Clark with an E on the end. And if you have been affected by anything that you've listened to, if you know somebody who is struggling, somebody who is a refugee or asylum seeker, then you can seek out help. You can go either to Caritas directly, Caritas Diocese of Salford. You can go to Revive, or you can seek out Cornerstones. All of those, if you just Google them, you will find the relevant people and telephone numbers that you need. God bless you all. Until next time.